Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. Thanks for watching the show. Of course, the Wednesday night show every week. My buddy Billy Pendock. What's up, Billy?
What's up, Paulie? Glad to be here, man.
Man, another great day. Of course, every Wednesday we talk about the four-wheel drive show. Of course, Blaze Winter is part of that. Timmy Green is right there. Timmy Green's there. And Jamie Kimmel, part of the four-wheel drive, kicked up in the early 80s, all Americans, and all played in the NFL, and everybody was different. So usually, we talk about virtues, right, Billy? We talk about how to get better as a player, great coach, bad coaches, humility, how to overcome obstacles, something like that. Today, we're going to tackle nicknames. Okay, this is brought to you by Hill Kelly Dodge, Seiler Agencies, Ronnie's Car Wash, and Pensacola Glass. All right, Billy, in honor of my dad, Dominic Tripoli, he would have been 100 years old on August 23rd this year. And I started this show on his birthday 14 years ago on a Tuesday night. And so I want to honor him. Also, Bill Lynch, thank him for getting me in radio. But you knew my dad, and man, he died in 1995. He was something else, wasn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, and again, and for everybody that's just tuning in, me and we go back a long way from high school, and it was, Paulie, it was a time when everybody's parents were like second parents to everybody.
Yeah.
I was very, very fortunate to have a relationship with not only your dad and mom, but my Mr. and Mrs. Emmy and the Emmy family, and just.
Oh yeah, Timmy Green. I mean, my mom and dad were good friends with Timmy's mom and dad.
Yeah.
I mean, all the parents were friends, and everybody was involved. The Booster Club was rocking. It was humming. We don't see that anymore. No booster clubs anymore that really take control and raise a ton of money for the programs. It's sad, but my dad had a good demeanor. We talked about this on the Monday night show, Billy, with Kerry Good, my teammate, and like Timmy and Kerry Good are friends. Because they both have ALS, and it's a tall, tight community. But, yeah, we talk about good demeanor. And one of the things I think my father had good demeanor is he liked nicknames. And that's our subject for today, nicknames. And let's get rolling on it, and then we'll talk about it. Charlie Rockbottom, Speedy Gonzalez, Henrietta Butterfield, Scoot Scorch, and scores of other nicknames my father called me when I was a boy. Nicknames have probably been around since the beginning of time. I really believe that. I think we've all known like one Woody or Bear in our lifetime. My high school teammate, Mike Woods, was the first Woody that I've known. Mark Berryhill, we call Bear, it was the first Bear that I know. I just want to give a shout out to Woody Waters. Rest in peace, Woody. Job well done. Been a long-time sponsor and running Pensacola Glass. I miss you, Woody. Why are nicknames given? Where do they come from? And why do some nicknames stick? People are given nicknames for actually a variety of reasons. And some of them are because of the way someone looks, like Chubby, right? Or a big guy called Tiny, short people, Shorty, funny nose people called Bird. And if you're like Larry Bird, it's appropriate for both. Some get them for the way they perform, like Evel Knievel and Wayne Gretzky, the great one. Some for the way they sound. Some are given nicknames because they remind someone of someone else. Some are given because of a virtue. For example, Matty Ice Ryan, Michael Air Jordan. Some get them for a special event. Whatever the reason of nickname, there's one thing that's for sure. Everyone has had a nickname in their life at some time or another. The most common reason is because people have really long last names. Like I'm half Italian, and so I grew up around Italians, and we tended to shorten names like Catanzarita to Cat and Tripoli to Trip. Nicknames are not just limited to Italians, though. Our high school quarterback, Irishman named Tom Murphy. He didn't have a long name, just 2 syllables long. But we had to shorten it to Murph. Again,
Right.
everyone has known a Murph in their life. I have a nickname for almost every player that I ever coached. I don't have an appropriate nickname. I will shorten their given name, and especially not exclusively if their last name is 2 syllables or longer. Some nicknames are given because of physical ability, Bill. Some examples are Revis Island, Magic Johnson, Golden Bear, King James. We had one player, a Catholic, named Demarius Rancifer. We called him Heavy D because he was such a heavy hitter. Some nicknames are initials. Again, this is a shortening of a person's given name. I did this a lot when I coached. Years ago, I had a JJ, a PP, a T, a Dino. No, I didn't come up with Dino. It's actually his name. It reminded me of the Flintstones. So we had fun with that name. A lot of people are known for just one name. Cher, Ali, Jesus, Tiger, Gretzky, Michael Jordan, short for MJ.
Yeah.
That takes us to nicknames taking over only the first name. For instance, Magic Johnson, Air Jordan, and King James. When my father called me by one of my nicknames, I took it as a term of endearment. I can remember nicknames. We have fun with nicknames when I coach. The players started calling their teammates by their new names. It was fun for everybody. Some come early in your career, other nicknames later on. For instance, Eddie the Eagle, the snow jumper from England. There was also Robert Knievel, better known as Evel Knievel, which is probably the craziest nickname of all. And that's nicknames. Now it's time for Bible verse of the week. I actually have 2 this week. The first comes from the Proverbs chapter 22, verse 1. A good name is rather chosen than great riches. Think about that. All right, second one is really my favorite one. Second one comes from the story of how Moses got his name. It's in Exodus chapter 2, verse 10. Quote, later when the boy was older, his mother brought him back to Pharaoh's daughter who adopted him as her son. The princess named him Moses, for she explained, quote, I lifted him out of the water, unquote. Moses is a Hebrew term that means to lift out. Man, I didn't realize that Moses was a nickname. Wow, arguably the greatest human being that ever lived was called by his nickname. Moses was not his given name. The phenomenon of nicknames never goes out of style. From Moses to Jesus, the chosen one, nicknames will live on in perpetuity, Billy. Wow. They come from a variety of sources for a variety of reasons. And Coach Wojcik at Syracuse, the 6-time Super Bowl champion strength coach, actually gave you a nickname, Billy.
I had a lot of nicknames, all the way through, and I was, just a touch on a few. I got the name Mongo through Coach Wojcik because of the movie Blazing Saddles, and but in college, my nickname mostly they called me Billy Bench Press because I benched 500, and that was the nickname that kind of stuck through college. But enough about that. I think I made 2 lists. I talked about personal nicknames, and then I talked about group nicknames. Now, my number one. Now and you hit the nail right on the head. Everybody has had some nickname given to them. Maybe it was by their parents. Maybe it was because of a sport. Whatever the reason, but. Yeah. Now you got to go back with me. Now I'm thinking of the most decorated guy that had over 1,000 nicknames, and that was Joe Zimick that we went to high school with. Now I got to bring O'Leary back into this, Coach O'Leary back to the limelight because I talked to Zimick a couple weeks ago, and he told me the story about O'Leary would call him a different name every time we were at practice. First it was Ozame, then it was Ozamick, then it was Ozins, whatever the name he called. So he told me they were doing a pass drill with their backs to the coach. Coach was throwing football, yelling their name out when they turn around, throw the football to catch it quick. So he yells out Ozame, and that wasn't his name. Hits him in the back of the head with the football and says, "You couldn't catch a goddamn cold."
Oh my gosh.
Now let's talk about, we're still back in high school. How about Mike Downey had the name Wubba, and because of his body, and the way he was. But
yeah,
going forward, I was very, very fortunate to play with numerous guys with nicknames. I played with Ed Too Tall Jones. Ed Jones was 6'9". His nickname was Too Tall. We're going back to the Dallas Cowboys.
right.
I played with Randy White. His nickname was the Manster. He was a 9 or 10-time All-Pro.
The Manster.
I played with Joe Morris. They called him Joe the Jet. I played with him in college, and then he played the NFL. I was lucky to play with, we had Bernard King on the show. Bernard's nickname was B-Cat because he moved like a cat on the football field. And talk about, I'll tell you, one of my favorite nicknames, and I mean, he's passed now, and I know you remember him, is a guy that played for the Raiders. His name was Jack Tatum. You remember his nickname?
The Assassin.
The Assassin. Now,
yes.
I don't think in this day and age you'll ever hear that nickname given to a player again. But now, Paulie, we go into groups. Now, the first group I think about is our group here, the 4-wheel drive. Now,
right.
And again, it started when we were freshmen and sophomores, and it stuck. And the next thing you know, more people were chatting 4-wheel drive in the Dome, and that's how nicknames start and keep going. But you think about the Doomsday Defense. And I was lucky to play at Dallas. You think about the New York Sack Exchange. You think about one big one that I know you remember, and I'm surprised you didn't bring it up, are the Junction Boys.
The Junction Boys.
A great nickname of a team that Coach Barrett Bryant coached, and numerous movies about, and I'm going to tell you, I've done a lot of research on Bryant and when he coached there, and it's very interesting to me. But
Billy, you would have loved, because Billy, you would have loved Coach Bryant, man.
Yeah, that movie, talking to Gene Stallings and talking to, hearing these guys talk about, that time in life, it almost makes you feel like we were back at camp at, Golden Valley.
Yes. Good point, Billy. That's a great point. Golden Valley was just a miniature Junction Boys. That's exactly what it was. There was a pool there. I don't ever remember swimming in that pool the whole week we were there. He just made us look at it. Never had water in it. No wonder we didn't swim in it, because we would have snuck out at nighttime and jumped in it. Because we did sneak out at nighttime one time.
Yeah.
How did we do that? Talk about the balls of a burglar. I mean, we had Coach O'Leary just, that one. We were on one floor and they were on the other. How did we get out? I don't know how me and Boulay and Berry Hill and a couple other ones got out.
The thing, Paulie, the thing with, not to get off the subject, but I've known Coach O'Leary for years, and we've all known him for forever. I've had him as my coach for years, and when everything was preordained with Coach O'Leary, he knew planned, it was planned, because he actually wanted some of us to sneak out, because that was all part of the punishment we would get. And and he told me this one day when I started practice. When I started practice, when you guys were freshmen, sophomores, I knew it. We went out at 2:30, 3 o'clock. I knew at 4:30 you guys were going to screw up. It was already set on the schedule. So you remember at high school, we started practice on the parking lot. You took the lights on numerous times, and
yeah, that's interesting, Billy. Everything was planned. The great coaches are so well prepared for every scenario. Coach Brian would have three notebooks. One happened where we would say if they won, if they lost, or they tied. That's how much prepared he was. But O'Leary was the same way. And Larry
think about. And I asked him this, and it's hard to get a lot out of Coach O'Leary. And I've talked to him in depth. And I said to him about all this stuff that went on, and he said, think about sudden change on the football field. Think about when you have to make sudden change. You're practicing, it's 4 o'clock. All of a sudden, we start practice over at 2:30 again. What happens? Your mindset has to change. Does that prepares you for the football field or the whatever sport you're playing? All great players are weighed by that change and good to bad.
Right.
That's
good to bad or bad to good. Yeah, that he called it expect the unexpected, sudden change. He was always Coach Bryant was always talking about that, but all the great coaches talk about it. As much as the 4-wheel drive. I'm interested. Who came up with the 4-wheel drive nickname, Billy?
I think I was sitting down with Jamie, and both of us drove trucks, and I'm sitting with him one day, and we're talking, and I go, the four of us. I mean, me and Blaze are like the back wheels. You and Timmy are like steering the truck. And then he goes, that's a goddamn great. That's us, 4-wheel drive. And next thing you know, they had shirts printed. Everything was done in 4-wheel drive. And to talk about one more nickname, and I think you remember this, Coach O'Leary never had many nicknames, Paulie. If you can think about, there's one nickname I remember, and I don't know who made it up, but going back to high school or college, someone called him not Coach O'Leary, Coach O'Scary. Do you remember that?
Yeah, they behind his back for sure. I mean, it was, Let me tell you, in Alabama, you know what Coach Brian was known? With the players, the old man.
Yeah.
Yup. Because he was sick. He was sick, right, in the last few years. He had a bad heart, and he shuffled. He lived a hard life, right? So he'd walk around at 69 like an 89-year-old guy, and he passed away, Billy, at 69 years old. Dynamite Dom. You talk about a nickname. My father, Dynamite Dom Tripoli, passed away at 69.
Yeah.
So Billy, 69. Anything past 69 is gravy for me, baby.
Yeah, we got a little ways to go, but
six more good years left.
And the thing is too, getting back to your dad, I can picture him holding the chains on the sideline. Is where I could see him standing, and of course, it was the opposite sideline. It was the visiting team sideline.
Oh yeah.
When we would make a play out of bounds over by him, he'd sit there and give me that smile and that wink, and I remember like it was yesterday, just like, this is stuff that it's too bad, but kids nowadays might never see something like that.
Yeah, he was something. He was. I don't understand. He was Mr. Liverpool Warrior. It's an outrage that he's not in the Liverpool High School Hall of Fame. my father and his Italian buddies, Catanzarita and Tony Pascal, those three held the chains for decades at every high school football game on the visiting side. Billy, can you imagine the things they heard on the visiting side of Coach O'Leary's team?
Oh my God!
What they could write a book. God, man, I wish I'd have done that before they'd all passed. But Billy, they were something else. And then my dad in the basketball, he ran the clock. He ran the scoreboard and the clock operated in baseball. And he was the president of the Booster Club, the Liverpool High School Booster Club. So yeah, it's a shout out to Dynamite Dom. This show, thanks for the 14 great years of doing this show, Billy. I guess we're on year 2. We're on year 2 for 4-wheel drive.
Are we? Wow,
yep.
It's crazy. I mean, the content has been great. The content's been all over it, and I get phone calls all the time about guys, everybody interested in hearing all the content, which is good.
Appreciate you and Blaze, man. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, man. I wish I could tell you about. Blaze didn't really have a nickname. Timmy, both Jamie, Timmy, Blaze didn't really have any nicknames that were stickers, that stuck. But
yeah.
But like I said, Joe Morris was stuck out in my mind because he welcomed me to Division I football. He gave me
that was because of his ability, man.
He gave me my baptism under fire. He ran me over and ran around me. So I got my baptism under fire from Joe Moore.
The Manster. I like the Manster. I like that one. I like the Manster.
I used to fish all the time with Randy White. He was a great human being. Just a great guy.
Yeah. Wow. Good. It's such a blessing to know those guys, man. And we've been really blessed. I want to thanks Billy. Thanks for being on the show, man. Next week,
Absolutely.
Folks. Yeah, we're going to talk Syracuse football, their new quarterback, and Bama, Ty Simpson's new quarterback. We're going to talk about the schedules, and it's good that the Syracuse and this Alabama-Syracuse connection, the Alabama fans watching Syracuse and Syracuse fans listening a little bit about Bama. So I think it's all good.
I think the two teams, the way they're doing this playoff system and the way teams are starting to move, I think we're getting closer and closer to seeing that Syracuse-Alabama game. It's been, it may happen in the next 4 or 5 years. You never know.
Yes, in the playoffs. It's going to happen in the playoffs.
You never know.
10 wins. I mean, he can, Fran set a high standard last year at 10 wins for Syracuse, man. And you guys had more wins than Bama did. When's the last time that happened?
Well, Paulie, to be fair, it was
in the 80s. It was in the 80s. It was 84.
But let's also be fair about his schedule last year. It was not like you're playing. We played back in the Big East when every game was top 10. Every game, you had top 10 teams every week.
Man, in August, August 30th, it's Texas at Ohio State and Syracuse at Tennessee, both the early games.
Crazy.
I'll be wearing out the battery on my remote on that one.
Crazy. Okay?
And then Alabama at FSU, LSU at Clemson, and then to finish it off Sunday, Notre Dame at Miami on Sunday. Finally, we're getting some good non-conference matchups, and that's what you're gonna need to get into the playoffs because everybody's gonna have 1 or 2, 3 losses.
Exactly. We'll talk about it next week.
All right, buddy. Have a great week. Peace.
Okay, man. Good seeing you, baby.
Love you, bud. See you.
Bye-bye.
Wow. Billy Pendock, one of a kind, man. Mongo. Yeah. Mr. Benchman, he was the strongest guy on our team, and we had a pretty strong team because we would lift weights in high school 5:30 in the morning. No other high school even attempted to do that. And that's why we won so big, because we outworked everybody. Stay tuned for these great messages. Without these sponsors, this just wouldn't be possible. Have a great sports week. We'll talk to you soon. So long.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
75 years of service in high-tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High-tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple painted brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray, and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
My name is Steve Reynolds. I'm the manager and owner of Cordova Lanes, and we help keep your mind out of the gutter. Cordova Lanes is part of the community of Pensacola. Being here for 43 years, we've entertained more people than any other bowling center in the city. We sell fun for a living. Cordova Lanes is located at 2111 Airport Boulevard in Pensacola, behind Cordova Mall. Come on out and see us at Cordova Lanes Bowling Center. Thank you.